Je donne la parole à l'honorable Mike Temple, président de la Commission des finances et des affaires monétaires, à faire sa présentation. Honorable Temple, vous avez la parole. Merci beaucoup l'équipe du MAEP pour vous permettre de vaquer à vos occupations. Vous êtes libre. Le Parlement vous souhaite une fois de plus une bonne journée. Merci. Temple, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, Bureau members, dear colleagues, clerk, deputy clerks, and all the staff. Mr. President, before I go into my opening remarks, I would just like to dispel a very sad rumor, or what we call it nowadays, fake news, that is doing the rounds. I have been, on a lighter side, Mr. President, I've been approached by a number of males at Parliament asking me when they can immigrate to Eswatini. I just wish to point out, Mr. President, that Eswatini has practiced polygamy for more than 400 years. And for journalists to set a story to say that His Majesty the King is passing a law that we have to marry more than one wife is total lies and fabrication. And I just wish journalists would get the facts straight. His Majesty will never and can never and does never pass laws on his own. He is not a dictator. He does not rule by decree. We have a parliament, a very, very robust parliament. And I just wish to dispel that rumor, Mr. President. Yes, please, honourable members, visit Swaziland. There's no law that says you have to marry many wives. I have one wife. My wife will not let me have another wife. But other members, other Eswatini males have a number of wives. And it's their right to choose such. We have practiced polygamy for more than 400 years. So I'd like to dispel that rumor, and I'd request the journalists and those newspapers peddling these false rumors to please retract them, because it is an insult to His Majesty and to the nation that these rumors can be spread. And there are people believing them. So I request, please, journalists, retract. Mr. President, it gives me great pleasure once again to stand before this August House and deliver the PAP budget for 2020. Honourable colleagues, I'd personally like to thank you for all your prayers whilst I went for elections in 2018. Your prayers worked very well, and I managed to win my elections and to come back into PAP. I'd also like to say a very special thank you to my committee for once again showing their faith in me and electing me back as their chairman. Mr. President, the CMFA had a number of meetings, debates, very, very robust debates during the March meetings, and also during this plenary, scrutinizing this budget, Mr. President, to make sure that we stay on track and keep it as a Members of Parliament driven budget, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm going to be doing an executive summary, but in my executive summary, Mr. President, I'm going to dwell on a very serious and contentious issue. And Mr. President, we are once again facing the challenges we have faced before around the welfare of parliamentarians. It is unfortunately, Mr. President, caused by one entity and one entity alone, the PRC. Mr. President, in my executive summary, I will talk about what I think we as a Parliament need to do to correct this. It's something we've done in the past, and I think we need to be very, very rigorous and follow the recommendations that are made by the Committee on Finance and how we should handle these matters. Mr. President, the report of the committee, I know that, well, I hope, but I was informed by the administration that all the members received emails, I think, last week, Friday, of the full report of the budget. So I'm going to do an executive summary, Mr. President, and I will start off that the rules of procedure of the Pan-African Parliament stipulate under Section 26, subsection 2, that the CMFA is mandated to A, examine the draft estimates of the parliamentary budget and submit to Parliament, B, discuss the budget of the Union and make appropriate recommendations, C, examine and report to Parliament on the problems involved in the implementation of the annual budget, and D, assist Parliament to execute its role of establishing sound economic, monetary and investment policies. Mr. President, pursuant to the aforesaid mandate under the rules of procedure, the committee convened a 3-day non-statutory meeting from 27 February to 1st March 2019 at PAP to consider the budget execution for 2018 and prepare the draft estimates for the 2020 budget. On the 7th of May 2019, and in line with Rule 82 of the Rules of Procedure, the committee received the budget from the Bureau of the PUP to prepare its report to Parliament. Mr. President, the budget execution for 2018, in compliance with Article 33.3 of the AU Financial Rules and Regulations, the committee received the PUP budget execution report for the financial year ending 31st December 2018 from the administration. It should also be noted that during the year, the committee received mid-year budget execution status on the budget performance. The appropriation, Mr. President, for 2018 was US dollars 20,141,559 compared to 22,460,130 in 2017. The significant reduction was due to the scaling down of the program budget from US dollars 6,527,868 to US dollars 2,920,000 to reflect expected commitment from partners. In the full report, Mr. President, the table will show the breakdown of the budget figures and compares the figures to the total budget figure for 2017. The operational expenditure for 2018 amounted to US dollars 14,390,277 against the total operational budget of US dollars 17,221,559, giving an execution rate of 83.56%. Out of this, the total staff cost for 2018 amounted to US dollars 7,402,631 against a budget of US dollars 9,810,123, which was significantly lower than the budget, Mr. President. On the program budget, the expenditure for the year amounted to US dollars 549,057, which is very, very low, Mr. President, on a released budget of 835,526, and an approved program budget of 2,920,000 US dollars, giving an execution rate of 66% on released funds. However, when viewed against the overall approved budget, the execution rate is only 18.8%. Mr. President, the budget line for others is a provision made for other partners that may provide support during the year. As at the time of budget approval, the only partner with a known commitment was the PANAF support of US dollars 872,871. However, under this budget line, a UN African Climate Policy Center support of US dollars 6,291 was received during the year for the training of the Committee on Agriculture, on Climate Change, Information Services, and briefing on COP24, as shown in the table, Mr. President. This has a total expenditure of US dollars 4,145 and execution rate of 66%. The budget execution rate for operations budget for 2018 was 83.56. The utilization rate was affected by the low utilization rate of 75.46 on the staff cost budget, which is a significant component of the operational budget. It accounts for 57% of the operational budget, and savings on the communication and stationery budget. The execution of program activities under the PANAF grant were affected by the delay in the release of funds. This was due to delay in finalization of both the internal and external audits for the program. Mr. President, the budget framework, our report presents the proposed budgets for the Pan-African Parliament for the financial year 2020. It's informed by the AU Agenda 2063, but more specifically, the PAP Strategic Plan 2019-22. The strategic objectives are the main focus, and funding is directed towards achievement of strengthening parliamentary legislative functions of PAP, provide a platform to mainstream African voices and those in the diaspora into the AU policy-making process, promote human rights, democracy and good governance, promote peace, security and stability, promote integration and development, and strengthen the institutional capacities of the PAP. The report before you discusses the individual budget lines and provides assumptions used in determining the budget amounts and the justifications for the activities. I will not go into detail of each budget line and the justifications, as you have the figures and explanations before you. An analysis of the proposed budget, Mr. President, in 2019, in compliance with the decision of the AUC, parliamentary activities were placed under program budget, as these are the program activities of the Parliament. The other administrative costs are considered operational. For discussion of the 2020 budget, the 2018, 2019 and 2020 budgets have been classified in the new format to allow for better comparisons. The proposed total budget for 2020 is US dollars 20,798,521, compared to the total approved budget of 2019 of US dollars 18,510,115, a proposed increase of 12%. The operational budget for 2019 was US dollars 11,749,132, and the proposed operational budget for 2020 is US dollars 12,405,995, giving an increase of 6%. The justification of the different budget categories that form the operational budget are in the table. The staff costs budget earmarked for the financial year 2020 is US dollars 10,146,633. It is expected that in 2020 the staff complement of 74 would have been achieved in 2019, and the recruitment for additional staff under the revised structure, which would be considered by the PO in June 2019, would have commenced. The proposed program budget for 2020 is US dollars 8,392,526. This is 24% higher than that for 2019. This budget covers parliamentary activities, therefore a proposed increase of 24%. The sessions and the statutory committee meetings are the main activities of the Parliament. Provision is also proposed of US dollars 880,000 for non-statutory activities of the committees. This is based on a budget of 80,000 US dollars for each of the 11 committees. A number of non-statutory committee activities are held at the time of sessions, and statutory committee meetings so as to reduce costs. As said before, Mr. President, the activities of the Parliament are driven by the AU Agenda 2063 and the strategic plan. Committees normally plan activities in October of the preceding year. Included in the program budget are 3 budget lines which were approved for the first time in 2019 and these are regional parliamentary conferences, ratification of AU legal instruments, climate change and integration, and public hearings. The AU activities budget covers attendance at AU summits and other meetings called by the AUC. Under the partners budget is a proposal for the new AGA program under negotiation with the European Commission. This program will succeed the PANAF program, which is ending in 2019. A provision of $1 million has been made, and it is hoped by the time the budgets are submitted to the PSC, the exact amount will be known. Mr. President, as we, as a chairman of the committee, present this budget, we did make some observations, Mr. President. We would firstly like to recall members that the mandate of the PAP, in as far as its own budget is concerned, and make your proclamation on it. We'd further like to remind the House of the mandate of the Parliament upon the budgets of all the other AU organs. This plenary is also requested to take note that this is the second year that the Union's budget has not been submitted to Parliament for deliberation. The committee appeals to the African Union Commission to submit to the CMFA the Union's budget timeously to allow for its review and presentation to this plenary. We further wish to inform you that the African Union has put in place golden rules which govern the financial management and accountability of its funds. Accordingly, in Assembly AU Decision 687, the F-15 was endorsed by heads of state and government to oversight the Union's budget with institutional accountability. Further to this, the African Union financial rules and regulations are being amended accordingly to implement this decision. Mr. President, the Committee on Monetary and Financial Affairs reiterates its call to this House on the need to be involved in the PAP and African Union budgetary process from its inception to its approval. Mr. President, this will bring me now to the issue that I mentioned briefly in my opening remarks, the issue of members' allowances. Mr. President, if you recall, when I left in 2008, I took a 5-year sabbatical and from politics. I left this Parliament in a very good state as far as members' allowances were concerned. When I came back in 2013, as mentioned in previous budget reports of mine, I found all of that had been removed. Nobody could tell me why, how, and for what reason. So I made a commitment then, Mr. President, to work very hard to bring back the members' allowances and the welfare of parliamentarians. That welfare of parliamentarians is paramount to us. It's paramount to us as a CMFA to make sure that parliamentarians' welfare is well taken care of. Mr. President, we're not asking for anything that we're not allowed. All we're asking for is what we believe is rightfully due to ourselves, and that's passed in the budget. What concerns me, Mr. President, is that we are then informed that the PRC has made this decision and the PRC has made that decision. On what basis, we do not know. Mr. President, I think we need to all understand that the PRC, I think 99%, if not 100% of the PRC are civil servants. Every president, every minister of foreign affairs, before they become a president, before they become a minister of foreign affairs, have to be a member of Parliament. They're all MPs. They all should understand how MPs work. Ambassadors don't, because most of them have never been members of Parliament. So we'll always have this disconnect between Parliament and the PRC. Mr. President, in 2008, how we won over the PRC, and I'd just like to tell a story. At the time, the President of the African Union Commission, of the African Union, was His Excellency President Kafur from Ghana. Therefore, by default, the chairman of the Executive Council was the Foreign Affairs Minister of Ghana. By default, the chairman of the PRC was the ambassador for Ghana. We went with Honorable Yakubu from Ghana, but we took a very, very strong team, and we looked at the components of the PRC, the countries within the PRC, that we felt those ambassadors were creating problems for us as a parliament. And we chose members from this House, not from the Finance Committee, from this House, who we felt could best deal with those ambassadors, in the best position to be able to lobby those ambassadors, and also in the best position to be able to have a one-on-one with their presidents and their foreign affairs ministers. We took a very strong team, Mr. President. We managed to win over the PRC, the Executive Council, and the heads of state, and the issue of allowances was introduced for the first time into the budget. Since then, Mr. President, I have been very vocal on saying that is what we have to do. Unfortunately, it has not happened, Mr. President. I'm now asking the plenary to please, by show of hands, by clapping on the table, to reintroduce that system, that we need members of parliament who are influential in their countries, who are influential with their ambassadors, who are influential with the heads of state and their foreign ministers, to go to the AU to defend and debate our budget issues with the AUC and the PRC. Mr. President, we have a team that needs to go on the 20th of May, Mr. President, to discuss the issue of the allowances. And Mr. President, I don't need to go. I need a team that comprises of members that are MPs from the countries that comprise the Bureau of the PRC's Subcommittee on Finance. And those are members from Congo, who chairs, South Africa, who unfortunately probably will not be able to go because they haven't been sworn in yet, the Comores, Egypt, and Ghana. Mr. President, we need to send members from this House that are influential enough to be able to lobby and convince the ambassadors that what we are doing, there's nothing wrong with it. It's our right. As members of Parliament, our welfare is paramount. This continuous, contentious issue that says MPs are abusing funds, MPs are abusing funds, MPs are abusing funds in Parliament needs to be cleared. And as I said in my presentation and on your activity report, Mr. President, we need to also lobby very strongly to get a seat at the main table, to be part of the discussions with the heads of state. Once we do that, our voice will be heard. Until that happens, will continue to be the subject of the belittling by the ambassadors. Mr. President, we need to work very hard on this, and I'm requesting that we honestly look very, very, very carefully at selecting a very strong team to travel on the 20th of May to Addis to defend our allowances. Staff has to go, yes, but we need to take a strong team of MPs, Mr. President. Mr. President, the other observation made by the committee is that we appeal to the committees to please submit their programs and activities timeously to enable them to be incorporated into the budget for 2021. Mr. President, in conclusion, the total proposed budget for 2020 for the Pan-African Parliament is US $20,798,521. It's made up as follows: an operational budget of US $12,405,995, program budget of US dollars 8,392,526, giving a total of US dollars 20,798,521. The figure is 12% above the approved budget for 2019. Sorry. The CMFA requests the plenary to consider and adopt the proposed 2020 Pan-African Parliament budget of US dollars 20,798,521 operational and program budget. Mr. President, I beg to move accordingly. I thank you.